And what up, Snoot1 here, back again with another brush pack for Procreate. It's been quite some time. This time I worked on some 3D brushes. A little heads up, this brush pack has nothing to do with the recent Procreate 5.2 3D painting feature. The brushes are not in the 3D space and have a 3D effect on them. And yeah, let's dive in. First of all, a quick overview on the pack. I worked on 48 brushes, 18 backgrounds, 56 worksheets, 10 color palettes, a comprehensive brush manual with all you need to know about this pack, and I also brought a 3D basics manual with an introduction on how to work with perspective, highlights and shadows. Oh, and as a little bonus, I added 2 additional Procreate scenes that automatically add a shadow, but more on this later. So yeah, we got quite a lot of stuff to cover. First of all, I developed 2 kinds of brushes. The normal brushes that overlay each other and add a new stroke on top of each other as you go. This works really well with the 3D effect, but sometimes you might do not want that. And that is why I created the blending brushes that blend into each other. The only thing is that these only work with the bright top color and the dark enough base color. More on the colors in detail later, but this is the reason why the blending brushes are separate. While we are on the topic of colors, you have the full control of the colors. It works just as my outline pack, but yeah, I will go deeper into how to pick colors after I showcased all the brushes. I sorted the brushes into 7 different categories, kicking it off with the 7 round tip brushes with various 3D effects on them. The first one is the round mono with a glossy 3D effect on it. Building up on that is the next one, round pressure with the additional pressure sensitivity settings. After this follows the round blend, and this is one of these blending brushes I just explained. You can see how the strokes are blending into each other, creating this cohesive kind of look. The next one is the round shadow. This one also has this glossy 3D effect, but this time with an additional drop shadow. Next up we have the round frosted. This brush has a matte and frosted finish. The following brush is the round metallic. It has this metallic or chrome-like 3D effect to it. And building up on that, the round metallic shadow with the additional shadow. The round smooth has a smooth gradient between the 2 colors, creating a very unique 3D effect. For the last brush in this category we have the round cone. This is essentially a round tip brush in the shape of a cone, which gives you this heavy contrast. Moving on to our next category, the round 3D brushes. These are 8 tube-shaped brushes. First up we have the round 3D mono, a rounded brush with a flat top and no pressure sensitivity. Following up on this, the round 3D pressure with the additional pressure settings. And the next one, the round 3D blend with the additional blend settings, so your strokes blend together. Building up on this, the round 3D soft with a soft drop shadow. The next brush is the round 3D shadow, and it is a bit lower if you can say that, with a flat shadow. Next up is the round 3D outline, which is building up on the previous brush with the additional outline. The last 2 brushes in this category are the round 3D depth brushes. They have a deep 3D effect on a glossy tube-shaped brush. We got 1 normal and 1 blend brush. Alright, our next category are the chisel tips. These are 9 broad edge brushes with various 3D effects to them. First up we got the Chisel Mono, a broad and deep 3D effect with no pressure sensitivity. Following up on this is the Chisel Pressure with the additional pressure sensitivity settings. And of course the Chisel Blend with the additional blend settings. The next brush is the Chisel Shadow, which is also building up on the previous brushes and has the additional smooth drop shadow. I also made a blend brush for this one as well. Next up we have the Chisel Black, and contrary to the other brushes, this one has a very hard lighting, so it gives you this very hard contrast. The last one that is building up on this structure is the Chisel Halftone. This chisel brush has a shadow plus an additional halftone pattern. And the last two brushes of this category are the Chisel Bevel brushes. These have a chisel tip with an extra bevel effect on top of them. And the last one is the Chisel Bevel Halftone with a shadow and the additional halftone pattern in the background. The fourth category of this brush pack are the Chisel 3D tips, a rather small category of 3 brushes. First up, the Chisel 3D Mono. This one is a 3D brush with a flat shadow. Following up on this, the Chisel 3D Pressure with the additional pressure sensitivity settings. And the last one of this category, the Chisel 3D Soft, that is also building up on this with a soft shadow. Our next category are the Felted brushes, a category of 3 unique 3D brushes. The first one is the Felt brush with a quite interesting 3D effect to it. This one is great for more classic script styles. The next one is the Felt blend with the additional blend settings. Following up on this is the Felt 3D, a felt tip with a stronger 3D effect and a heavier contrast. I also made a blend brush for this one as well. And for the last brush in this category we have the Felt Smooth. It got this smooth gradient between the two colors. And for our last 3D brush category are the chunky brushes. Those are 6 broader and fatter tips with a quite different 3D effect to them. All are building up on this very first one, the chunky brush. The second one is the chunky blend with the additional blend settings. Following up on this, the chunky shadow with the additional shadow. And the chunky shadow outline with the extra outline to it. The last brush of this category is a little bit different than all the other brushes I just showed you. It is a 3D outline brush. To wrap up all the brushes, I also added the extra brushes, featuring 7 extra brushes that you can use for details and to spice up your work. First up, as usual, we have the Schlummerpinsel, a simple pressure sensitivity round tip brush for your details. A similar one to that is the Sharp brush with a sharper taper to it. And next up we have our halftone brush. It's a pressure sensitive halftone pattern that adds a strong effect the more pressure you apply. The shadow brush is a smooth gradient with an additional watercolor settings that are made for adding extra shadows to your work. The next brush is this render brush. This one is inspired by the render interface of 3D engines and can be used to add the final touch to your work. And last but not least we have the Wall 3D, a 3D wall effect which can also be used in a single straight line. That is it with the brushes. Now I want to take you through the extra stuff I made, stuff like backgrounds, worksheets, the brush manual, as well as the 3D basics manual and the color palettes. But before we go any deeper into the content of this pack, I want to talk about the colors and how you can pick colors using these brushes. You will also find a much more detailed explanation inside the brush pack manual. Alright, as promised, you have the full control over the colors. You can control the colors using the top right color circle and the secondary color inside the color menu. For this explanation I'm referring to the color inside the circle, the base color. This is the last color you selected. The color in this circle will set the base color and controls the shades. The second color I'm going to call the top color. In Procreate terms, that is the secondary color. It does not matter if it's the right or the left one inside the color menu, it is just the other color that you don't see in the top right circle. And this is the top color and it controls the highlights. These two colors overlay and create a 3D effect. In general, I would recommend choosing a dark color for the base color, then you choose for the top color. If you switch it, it will either look inverted or like the light is coming from behind, which of course can look pretty cool as well. To give you some examples, let us choose a yellow for the top color and a darker red for the base color. It is important that you select the darker red in the end in order to bring it to the top right circle and make it the base color. If you selected the red color first, then just choose the yellow color and tap on the darker red again to bring it back up and to make it the base color. Let me show you another example. A dark pink for the base color and a bright green for the top color. Now I tap on the dark pink again to make it the base color and you can see it appears in the top right circle. And yeah, that's actually all it is to the colors. I made 18 backgrounds for this pack. These are 13 graphic backgrounds to get you started with your piece, 5 3D rooms, or I call them, which are 2D renders of 3D rooms. This allows you to add even more depth to your work and play a little bit with the letters inside an imaginary 3D space. Using one of these 3D rooms, I built 2 Procreate scenes, which are a mock-up template, one horizontal and one vertical. You can write inside the template and it will automatically create a shadow of your letters. A little extra I thought was fun to play around with. This pack also contains 10 Procreate color swatches with different color palettes as inspiration for your work, and most importantly 3 colored swatches featuring pre-selected combinations for your brushes. I always set the left one to be the top color and the right one to be the base color, but yeah, feel free to play around with that. I also worked on 56 worksheets for each brush category, one for the normal brushes and one for the blend brushes in various different styles for the whole alphabet to practice with these brushes and for inspiration. And to top this all off, I wrote a comprehensive guide on the whole pack, going through all the brushes with an overview and some tips and tricks on the brushes and detailed explanation on how to pick colors and how to change things like the stabilization, as well as 3 tips to give your work even more depth. And last but not least, we have the 3D Basics guide. The 3D Basics is a guide on the basic of perspective, highlight and shadow. So you can use this knowledge to get the most out of these brushes and this 3D effect. That is it for now. Thanks so much for watching. I'm so excited to hear what you think about these brushes. And if you like them, check the link in the description to get to my website. And feel free to reach out to me should you have any further questions. And have a good one.